Hello and welcome to part 2 of this tutorial. For the most part, this video is going to be largely a speed paint of the overall workflow of the drawing of this avatar. If I totally understand if you want to skip ahead, and if I can figure out how YouTube does it, I'll probably add a quick link somewhere to let you skip to the notes at the end. But otherwise, enjoy the drawing, and yeah. Alright, so here we go. I think I've got the drawing about where I want it. I'm hoping I didn't miss anything, but as you can see as we go through here real quick, when you finally do export it, or actually I'll get into that in a minute, but we've got all our layers set up. So we've got the body layer. I'm doing the same thing as I did with Shard, doing a little chest floof thing. Inner mouth. This back of the hair thing. I'm going to try and see if I can synchronize the front and back of the hair so that when this ear ends up moving, it can rotate so that you can still see behind the ear, see the hair behind the ear, without having to distort the main hair to match it. And then we've got our ears. Ooh, that's actually one thing that does need to be edited. Ooh, and it looks like the hair, I missed something in the hair. So let's go up to our front hair. Trim out this little extra bit of white. There we go. Took me a little while to kind of figure out a little bit as far as how I wanted the chest floof and the shoulders and everything to go. I'm relatively happy with it now. One other thing that does need to be done. Here, actually, I'll finish going through this little walkthrough. We've got the ears. Lower teeth are its own layer. Got the base of the head. That's going to be the cheeks and everything's basically going to sit on that. Got the eye whites. That's going to be the main clipping layer for the eyelids and the eyeballs. Where am I? Got pupils. And then we got the eye rims. Those are what's going to be the ultimate clipping, or those are going to cover up the eyelids, the seams between the eye whites, where that clipping actually happens. The rims are actually going to help mask that. We've got eyebrows as their own separate layer, and it looks a little bit goofy. I'm not too sure. I may want to fix that a little bit real quick. That's on the head base. Just gonna zoom in here, sample this, and just kind of clean up that border, that shadow. It just looked a little strange. And let's actually bridge those two shadows. There we go. That should be fine. All right, now we'll go back up to where we were. We got our eyebrows, a little fluffy. I got our upper teeth. And I ended up, I did originally draw all the teeth, but I thought it looked a little goofy having them displayed all the way, so I pulled all the teeth up and extended the canines just down a little bit. And then we've got the upper muzzle, ultimately covering everything up. And then we've got the front chunk of the hair. And I think that's everything. Now we're going to get into the last little step before we actually export this and rig it up for the final little step of this tutorial. There's one more thing that needs to be done, or a few things that need to be done. So when it comes to, see these pupils, they're not actually going to be moving in the same time in the same place. So we're actually going to take the pupils layer and we're going to select one of these eyes and we're going to paste it back in. And as you can see, it created a separate layer. And now we're just splitting this up. So we got, this is going to be the left eye. And this one's going to be the right eye. All right, so bop, bop. And I'm naming them based on the character's direction. The eyebrows, I think I'm going to animate those together, just because for the most part it's just up and down, so they can both move at the same time. I think you can animate them independently, but I'm not too concerned about that right now. Let me see, where's these eyelids? This is going to be the most annoying part because all of those eyelids need to be split apart. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to split all the eyelids into their own independent shapes. I have a feeling you could probably get away with not doing that. But I'm not going to try and do that right now. So Control X, Control Shift V to paste it right back in its exact place. We're going to name this one, I'm going to do it shorthand a little bit, RL for right side lower eyelid. And then we're going to go back to our eyelids layer. Select the other eyelid. Control X, Control Shift V, paste that one in. That's going to be right upper eyelid. Back almost done here. X, Control Shift V. This is going to be the left lower eyelid, and then the remaining one bit is the left upper eyelid. Okay, so everything should be split up as it needs to. I did split the ears, correct? I didn't split the ears, I don't think. Where's my ears? Ears need to be split as well. So one more quick split we do right here. Control X, Control Shift V, paste it right back in place. You got our right ear and left ear. All right, now I think everything's split up right, but you get the general idea. If I miss something, I'll just come back and fix it real quick. But I think I've got everything split up just because the ears are going to be animated independently of one another. Obviously the eyes are as well. But some things like the eyebrows, while they can be animated independently, I'm not looking at rigging it in a particular way that's going to need it. So yeah. When it comes to exporting this, now that this is all set, I'm going to save it as this is real quick. And then I'm going to save as, make another one. I'm going to just call this the export model. And when it comes to exporting this thing, all you're going to be doing is exporting the just the model. You want to get rid of all the backgrounds, all your references, and everything like that. Those are all going to be troublesome when it comes to getting into the other software, just because it's going to try and map it into the rig. And obviously things like the big background isn't going to be part of it. So you want to get rid of everything that isn't directly related to the model. And so here I'd go, I have everything split up just how it needs to be. One quick check: body, chest floof, inner mouth, back of the hair, left ear, right ear, lower teeth, head base, eyes. Now the eye whites could be separated if you're trying to do some significant left or right distortion or something like that. At which case the eyes will actually come together or stretch apart, or they may be animated a little bit independently. But for the most part, the eye sockets are fixed in place, so we're not going to split those apart and we're not going to animate them in this model. Got all our eyelids. Yep, everything looks pretty much good to go. Okay, so one last thing. This is a big remember to do this, because I used mirroring in this. The software that we're going into, Live 2D Cubism, it cannot accept a Photoshop file when it has any paths or anything related to that. And one thing that is considered a path in Photoshop is that mirroring. So if you don't have it, you need to find it. You need to bring up paths, and you need to make sure you delete this vertical symmetry. it saved that for while I was using it and everything. But if it's still in the model, when it comes time to export, you're just going to get an error when you try and import it into the new software. But with this, I think our model's all set and ready to go in for rigging. Now, a few risks that I took when I did this is I did this a little more painterly. There is, as you probably saw in the time lapse a little bit towards the end, I ran into a little bit of trouble because I wasn't double checking opacity too much throughout the drawing. Something I probably should have done earlier was just block everything out in solid color and then done my painterly stuff over top of it. Just because some things are slightly transparent and it may show up in the final rig. We'll see how big of a issue that is, and we'll see if I corrected everything enough, I guess. By the looks of things, it's all pretty much fixed. There's some transparency right on the edges, just kind of where the fluff and everything kind of fades out. And I'm not 100% sure that the software will support the transparency of the image itself. I probably should have Googled that, but we'll see how that goes. Worst case scenario, I'll just have to come back and clean it up a little bit more, make it more solid. But I think we should be fine. So yes, at this point, I've kind of decided that this is going to be a multi-part episode. So stand by for part 3, where we're going to go into importing this into Live 2D, rigging it up real quick. It's going to be a fairly simple part, but then it should be all ready to go. So we'll see you there. And this concludes part 2 of the tutorial. In part 3 and onwards, it's going to be all based on the actual rigging of the character and importing and exporting and getting everything set up for facerig. So feel free to click through to the next video. See you there.